Well, I'm ready for a day at the beach. I'm out here. I hear there's some great waves out there. I'm going to be watching for those great waves because I want to paint them. I want to see if I can capture that moment on a canvas. All right, this is Sarah Poff, the multimedia storyteller, just catching another story. All right, let's go for it. Here's my painting, and we're going to paint the background first, and then we're going to do those great waves. The wave, and I'm going to put on my painting apron here, but it's always fun to set the scene. Helps me think about what we're doing. All right. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay. So first thing we want to do is we want to paint the background. We want to paint it some bold, bright colors. I chose yellow and orange. You can do that, but you could also choose other colors if you would like to. I'm going to paint the whole thing, and then I'm going to blow dry it and then paint on top. So if you don't have orange, you can make orange if you remember how. If you don't remember how, well, listen up. I'll be teaching you. So I use, this one is actually a stretch canvas, but this time in front of you, I'm going to use just the board canvas. Either works. As I always tell people, is you can use whatever you want to paint. You could even use the illustration board to paint on. It works. Let's see, I have all kinds of paintbrushes, just miscellaneous from my house. As you see, some of them are even household brushes. So I'm going to take red and yellow. I'm going to pull this together. And I'm going to need a lot more yellow. A lot more yellow. So I'm going to get my yellow back out. Sometimes I've been known just to squirt it on the canvas. Let's go for it. We're going to just squirt this on the canvas. All right. And then we're going to take a little red and we're going to squirt it on the canvas. I don't want as much red. I'm going to leave it at that for now. And then I'm going to take it. I want to kind of do a swirl about. See how this kind of swirls around? You can do your orange and yellow if that's what you have. If you don't have, you can do what I've done. Because I would like to be able to see both colors, not just the, them mixed together. We want to be able to see the textures of both. So we can see the texture as I come across with the brush. We're going to see all the colors. So now actually we're going to have 3 colors because we're going to have some red, we're going to have some yellow, and we're going to have, as they mix together, we're going to have orange. All right. This is actually kind of fun to do. You're just getting a little circle kind of motion. It just gives that motion of the painting that everything's kind of going in a circular direction. Okay. Keep going and going and going and going and going, and we're gonna go, go, go. We're gonna get this job done, and we're gonna have a beautiful summer painting. I'm gonna take those spring paintings down off my wall and put up my new ones. It's kind of fun. I have a spot for all the paintings, and I just change them out seasonally. It's nice that art supplies are cheaper these days than they used to be. Well, at least when I was a little girl. And so we can do that. Okay, I think that's going to be good. I think I about got that here. Now we're going to get noisy. Here we go. Now this is going to take a little bit longer than sometimes because we swirled the two colors together and there's more paint on there than sometimes when I do these. Yeah, see if you touch it, that's what happens. If you touch it, that's what happens. Okay, I have a spot right here that's not dry, but maybe I can start working and that spot will come around. I think I just now got paint all over me. All over my chin. All right, now let's look back at the painting. So we have the circular, and we want to make some circular spirals. All right, so I'm going to start, I think I'm going to start with, let's start with this at the bottom. I'm going to look at my canvas. I'm going to turn it around and see what I like. I'm going to start with this because this is dry. I kind of like this, but I want us to keep going on this because we have just a certain amount of time. I'm being a little messy. I got it on my fingers. Sometimes that happens. Those old art hands get lots of paint on them. All right. So now we're going to come up with, we want some greens and some blues and we want some white. And we want to do a little bit of base painting and then we want to just make some dabs. So I'm going to look for several brushes that are about this size. As I've told you before, I don't want you to feel like you have to have certain kinds, just something in that range. And something that's not hard. Sometimes they get hard on us. Here's another one I can use. Oh, there's a little bitty one I can use. Just going back to my big old can. See, I just have all kinds of brushes in there. And I've been known, if I don't have exactly what I want, I've been known to cut them. It's all right. They're yours, right? They're yours. They don't belong to the art teacher. If you were at school, that'd be a different thing. That would be a different thing. All right, so I'm going to start by just grabbing right here some of this blue with white. And I'm just going to kind of go up and down. I don't want it to be, I don't want to just go straight across because that doesn't get us going on the waves. And I'm going to want, the colors to vary as I do this. So I'm just going up and down. Now that kind of brought in some of the color from behind. And so it almost turns it green there. So we want to just go up and down with those waves. Just kind of follow that pattern. Just kind of varying what we do. Do you like to go to the ocean and watch those waves? Whoa, I still recall the first time I went to an ocean. It was in 1975. First time I got to see the ocean. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And yes, it was spring break. Freshman year in college, spring break, yes. And yes, my daddy knew. Okay, so I'm just kind of splotching it down there. Go up and down, up and down. So where's your favorite beach to go to? Let's see. I don't go very often, so I don't know. I went to that Fort Lauderdale one time. I went to Amelia Island. That's probably the best one I went to because my cousin lives there, and so we got to go right down. It's just like right down her street, at the end of her street. Those people live on the ocean. Just right there on the edge of the ocean. I had never seen houses that close to the ocean. And that was a couple of years ago I went down there and stayed with her. So that was kind of cool because like at Fort Lauderdale, there's a lot of people there. And they're not all acting as they should. Not all acting as they should. Been to Pensacola. We only got to see the ocean there. And then I was in Portugal. I got to see the ocean in Portugal. Now, what I would say about Portugal, it was cold. It was cold, and the kids were swimming. I was at a camp for children teaching art. The children were swimming, but they weren't swimming in the ocean. They were swimming in a back pool where the ocean comes in and drops water into a recessed area there near the beach. I never heard of such a thing, but it was very interesting. It was very interesting. Okay, now on my other painting, I kept coming up further with this, and I want to get a little lighter in color as I go, so I need a little more white on my painting. Yes, I buy those big containers of paint, and then I do my best to just keep mixing. Now, because I showed it to you, I kind of dripped. I think we'll be covering that up anyway, so I don't think it's a big deal. So I'm going to come a little lighter, but I'm still going to mix colors. It's that mixing of colors that makes us think about those waves. I used to go across Jackson County Lake, Lake Jacomo, every day on the way to work when I taught school in Lee Summit. And I always remember watching the weather, watching the waves, kind of guessing the weather. Oh, winter's coming. No, now spring and summer are coming. And watching the waves as they change the season, as the weather changed. It was wonderful. It was wonderful to be able to do that. I'm not quite a city girl, and I can pretend I didn't live in the city when I did that. It was fun. And then sometimes those birds would fly right over in front of my car as I crossed. It was mostly Canadian geese. And we live close enough to the lake that sometimes they would come in our yard. Oh, the things memories are made of. So if you want to write in the comments maybe about your time at a beach or your favorite beach. What is your favorite beach? Oh, I think I'm liking that. I might ought to add a little green in there. I did on this other one. However, I really like how the blue and the white are coming together. Sometimes it just takes a little time. Keep curving the brush, making it look like the waves are coming in. Sometimes you just got to step back from it and look at it and think about it. Sometimes you might want to take out a picture of a real beach. You know, are you doing a impressionist style when you're painting? Are you doing something that's a memory? Or a beach that you wish? Maybe it's a dream painting. And you're thinking about where you would like to go. So I'm just kind of, I want to blend it together some, but I want to see the colors. Now I'm going to start the swirling process soon here. Now that might be something that you want to practice a bit. How many swirls do we want? How do we want them to look? You know, when we think about the great masters and when they painted paintings over and over and over. And sometimes we expect ours to look really good when we do it the first time. And that just doesn't always happen. Doesn't happen for most people. But they would paint them over and over until they got it like they really liked it. Or sometimes they would just then leave it to the side. I know I have a painting at home that I just kind of left to the side because I never finished the hands. I didn't finish the hands, and now that's been 44 years ago. I don't think I want to go back. I really don't think I want to go back. Okay, so now I'm going to start making some bold moves here, and I'm going to do my spin arounds. I'm going to twirl those around. So I'm going to start with one right here. And there again, I want to do like I did this. I don't want to do just a straight line. I want to just kind of dab it in, dab it in, dab it in, take it around, and then make it connect back into here. So I want to do each of the bigger ones I want to do up here and kind of get a placement on what I want to do, and then go back in and add more. And they don't have to be like this one. They don't have to be exactly like that one. Each one kind of turns out different for me. So, you know, I would expect yours to do the same, just kind of turn out a little different. We're just trying to get something similar. All right, so then I've got one, then I want to add one in here. Now we might think about design. So we're wanting something in here, probably in this area, to grab the attention of our audience. And then we want to be able to swing them around our painting, because your job as the artist is to draw them in, and you want them to keep looking at it for a bit. All right, so I'm going to bring one on out here. Now, some of this paint is not quite dry, but I'm just going to keep going and trying to paint where it's driest, and then I'll come back to that area. If a little yellow mixes in, there's a lot of green in that painting anyway. I think we'll be all right. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. Okay. Now let's see. I need a little one like right in here. It's going to kind of blend back into that one. All right. Now, I'm going to wipe my brush off. I've got a lot of paint on there, and I want to be a little choosier with what I pick out. So I'm still going to get this blotchy effect, this more impression effect is what we're trying to go for. We're doing an impression of a wave, like we were standing there and we saw this big crash of a wave out there way in the distance. Maybe we're looking in with our binoculars or a telescope that you're kind of telescoping out to something big. So we're going to dip into two colors. You want at least two colors in there. So right now I'm going to have blue and white. So I'm just going to dab, dab, dab. And it's just going to change over time. As you paint, it's going to change. I'm going to change this up because I really think I should have come up over here. Sometimes you just go with it and then you reevaluate and you go, oh, I should have done. And so then you just change her up. And most of the time when I'm painting in front of you, I'm painting upside down. So it adds a little another spin to it. Paint, 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 paint. I have a great old time painting, painting, painting. Paint, 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 paint. Add some darks and lights. Lots of contrast. We want lots of contrast in there. That contrast is really cool to look at. Contrast and balance and rhythm. All those good art words. Sometimes when I taught school, the kids would say, well, but that's a music word. Well, yes, it's a music word too. Yes. It's a music word and an art word. Music and art are so important in our lives. So I know Mid-Continent has also some in-person painting that you could attend. They also have some art classes that are in their teaching system, the little university kind of thing you can go to within their website that you might want to check out. All kinds of ways to learn about art. The Art Access is a really good program that they have going. And they put them out. So you might share this when it comes live on YouTube. When you come across it, share it with your friends. If you like Mid-Continent's way of doing it, just help promote them. Paint, 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 or should I say dab, 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 dab. Do you think those old masters ever got tired when they were doing something like this? I bet they did. I bet they had to take some breaks sometimes. The good thing is this is on YouTube, and you can take a break. and come back to it later if you want. However, I find that it's best for me if I just go for it. If I just go for it, because sometimes when I take a break and I start judging myself too much about how I'm doing this or that, then I kind of get a little critical. And this is about finishing a painting. That's what I want you to do. I want you to finish a painting. And then if you decide you want to paint another one again, well, paint it again and see if if you can find a better way to do it that you like better. But it's about finishing. That's what I've learned. It's about finishing. Like I said, I still have that one from all those years ago, 44 years ago. And it's actually on the wall. Because it's a portrait of my husband and myself. It's actually on the wall because one time I went to someone's house and they had a portrait that someone had painted of the family. And I looked at that portrait and I went, well, mine looks more like my husband and myself than that looks like them. So I went home and I dug that painting out from behind the dresser and I put it on the wall. I thought if they can hang theirs on their fireplace, I can hang mine on the wall. So I did it, and it's remained hung since then. I'm one of those artists that likes many, many styles. I don't like just this style or that style. I like to try a lot of things out. Okay, I'm going to go back to a bigger brush because I think I'll have to rotate between small and big to keep me going here. A little more white paint there. All right, and I still have plenty of blue. So I'd like for these to flow together. Paint, 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 mix, mix, mix. Watch those colors flow together. Watch those colors just flow together. Paint, 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 paint. Watch those colors flow together. Let's see. I'm going to switch because I think I think this is the brush I was using. I like the way it flows better. Sometimes certain brushes just go a little better. Paint, 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 paint. I sure do like to paint. And it's nice to know I have some people out there who are painting with me today. Hopefully I can inspire you to spend some time in a hobby, whether it's painting or whether it's something else that brings you pleasure. Sometimes our fast-paced world these days is hard on us. Paint, 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 dab, 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 dab that paint across the canvas. When I've done these in the classroom with the kids and they have to concentrate like this, the classroom gets really quiet, really quiet. Well, we're getting there. We are getting there. Remember, we're trying to do a painting in about an hour? That's our goal. About an hour. A painting that you can hang up. This would be another fun one to change out from your spring scenes on your wall and add in a little summer beach fun. Just a little summer beach fun. Paint, 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 paint. Sure do like it when the paint blends. Those colors blend together and I see new colors coming. I think about those waves crashing across there. Okay, I'm going to wipe off my brush again. It's getting a little thick around it. Okay, let's see if I can. I'd like to not see the canvas in a few of these spots. Or should I say the sunset behind? Or I guess it could be the morning. I know my cousin, she tries to go out there in the morning. She says they're on the Atlantic side and it's best then. You have to get up way early if you do that. And then I'm, of course, Midwesterner. That added another little problem to it. I wasn't on her time. When you go to some place that it's not quite on the time zone you are, it sure is hard. When I did that trip to Portugal, I still remember that jet lag hit me. It hit me like about, I think it was 30 minutes before the kids that I was supposed to teach were coming back into the area for me to teach. And my friend looked at me and she says, "Yep, you got it. Go lay down. I'll come get you about 10 minutes before they get here." And that 20-ish minutes or so was enough to revive me. But man, I'd never experienced that. So many things in this world to experience, so many fun things. And then we can capture them on canvas. We can capture them by drawing. We can capture them by taking pictures. Take a picture and then see if you can paint it. And the coolest thing in the world, I was thinking about this the other day, is the fact that back in my day when my daddy got me a camera, he says, "Now you can only take so many pictures. I'm not developing that many more now." So you never knew what it was going to look like, if it was going to be good or bad. It just was what it was when he developed it. And now I can take 300 pictures and delete 100 of them or 200 of them and get the best. I'm always looking for the best. So the best ones, it'd be fun to turn them into painting. So maybe you have in your phone, maybe you have an ocean scene that you have experienced that you would like to add some touches of that to your painting. Okay. Just keep going the same way. Just keep doing it. It's coming. It's coming. Step back. Have your friend, if you have a friend there that's helping you painting with you, have your friend hold it for you could see and then switch off or put it somewhere and step back. Just make sure that there's nothing that'll run if you turn it sideways, because we don't want it to run. And we are putting this on a little thicker than in some of the other paintings I've taught. But that way the paint blends together nicely for the waves. Some white caps along the way. Kind of the waves coming together there. Okay, I'm going to need a little more blue. I try to only squirt out just a little bit because I don't want to waste my paint. I do not like to waste paint. I want the paint to last me a long time, so when I get the urge, I can go paint. Now what I do is I go, because not always do those cheaper stores that you can buy the canvas board in, they don't always have it on hand. Sometimes those items sell out pretty fast. So everywhere I go, as I'm traveling about, I stop and look for them. And then when I do find them, I buy probably 25 to 30 each time. That way I've always got a canvas on hand. And as I've told you before, is you don't have to have a lot of paint. You just have to have those basic colors. Just learn to mix. You know, work on it. It'll come. It'll come. I mean, if you wanted to get a little fancier, you can go out there and read about the tubes. You could buy some tubes if you wanted. If you want a purer color of paint as opposed to the craft paint, you do have to like work harder at getting it the right liquid. You know how liquid it is if you're trying to do it fast. But if you want something that's more textured, that kind of paint works nicely. Something like this might be fun to do with a palette knife. So you could take the painting, the basic painting that we've done, and then just add to it doing a palette knife with it. There's not just one way to do these. That is for sure. And then you'll have to decide where you want it to stop here at the top. Oh, I hope that paint, I just dropped a paintbrush on the floor. I hope it doesn't have paint on it. Don't think it did. Okay, so now I'm going to wipe it off again because it keeps building. Because I'm doing more of a globby technique, it builds up a lot on there, and I don't want it to be quite that thick when I do it. Now I'm going to put the wave going into the wave beside of it. Remember to keep looking at it from afar. That's how you're going to know that you want to stop there. Whether you want to close it in or you want to leave some of those open. I keep using that blue. I bought some new blue. I like it. It's called primary blue, of all things. It's a primary color, and it's called primary blue. Now, when you do buy those craft paints, you want to try to look, if you're going to be mixing like I have been, and just trying to use the basics, you do want to try to look for the color that you think is the closest to what we would consider red, blue, yellow. Because sometimes they add, to my eye, I haven't ever been in the company mixing them, but to my eye, they have a lot of white mixed in with it. Maybe white's cheaper. I don't know about that part, but I just know that I look at them and go, oh, that yellow's not mixing quite as much as, how I like it. I think it must have a lot of white in it. So I'm going to take a smaller brush and go in here just a bit. I want this to look like it's a little deeper in there. Okay. Now we're getting closer to the end here. Getting a globby again. Gonna wipe it off. And if you notice that yellow is still not dry, I picked up a little bit of that yellow from the back. So I may just leave that, and then, if you have a spot that comes out like that, then you could go back with it later, and if you wanted to, or you can just decide that's where it ends. Maybe I'll just pull this up like that. Okay. I want to work on this one, and then I think we're going to be pretty close to our time that we need to be winding down. I guess I've used that brush a lot. Just comes right off of there. You can glue them back on if you need. All right, my favorite color to use here today seems like white. It's gotten blended down into the other colors. So now it does help when that comes back to a point. Because that way I can add a little bit of the white that makes it look like there's some white caps in and around. Now, do you think you could surf one of those waves? I know I can't. And at this age, I don't think it's not a wise decision. I think my children would veto it at this point. Mom, you may have an adventuresome spirit. We know that. But nah. Too late. Too late in life. But maybe you're at the age you could do it. Life is so much fun. It has so many adventures. I know my nephew, he loves those adventures. Saves up his money and then goes on another one. All right. I'm going to turn this around just a minute since it's upside down to me, and then I'll turn it back. I think I'd like to put this one a little bit bigger as those are coming together. Now I lost the head. Oh, there it is. I do need to glue that one back on, I would say. Your favorite brushes seem to get worn out, seems like, the quickest. Now, it has been fun on this one to be able to use a little bit of that thicker paint that I don't usually use when I'm using these, but we had a little bit different kind of painting than we did before. So maybe on the back, I think I'm going to do this. What beach is your dream beach to go to this summer? Where would you like to go? When we live in Missouri, we don't have this kind of beach to go to, but where might you like to go? See, appears I'm a little stronger up here, so I might have just a few more minutes that I could do like this. Add a little more. Now remember to stand back from it. Remember to just put it somewhere in your house, look at it, and then if you need to add something to it, go ahead and do that. You might, if your palette of paint is on a paper plate, you might keep that palette so that when you're mixing, you can mix that color easier that you liked. Of course, we're using like multiple colors and we're overlapping them, so it's a little easier with this one. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and pull that, kind of pulling that yellow in. I think this is one you could just keep going and going. At least I could. I got tired there for a while, and now I'm going, well, but I need one more here. I need one more there. What should I do there? Find a stopping spot and say that is good. Let's use the dab brush. Find that stopping spot here. Just a few more dabs around here. But it is kind of fun to watch how the paints swirl together. It's not an exact art there. All right. Well, it was a fun day at the beach with you today. I hope you will think about what a place that you like on the beach, that you had fun thinking and dreaming about where you might go. And fun mixing and watching the colors flow together in a little bit different kind of painting than we've done in the past. So this is Sarah Poff, the multimedia storyteller, and that's a wrap.